Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited for all of you to be here. I'm going to actually pass it off to Dr. Saunders, who's going to introduce us and share a little bit, but I am looking forward to being able to share with you guys here in a little bit. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Saunders. I'm proud to be the principal at Greer Elementary School. We thank you for joining us tonight for our first community meeting. I want to first thank the committee that has gathered together and has already started working hard on reviewing Mary Carr Greer's name as part of this process in Albemarle County. Also my honor to thank Dr. Matthew Hawes, who's our school superintendent, for joining us tonight, and I'm going to introduce him as we begin. Dr. Hawes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate it. And I just want to begin by doing the same thing that Steve did, which is to really thank all of you, because you have volunteered to be part of a process that hopefully will not, we could, it won't be as lengthy as some of the ones that we've done in the past due to some changes that we've made, but it'll be a longer process than maybe some committees you've served on in the past. And that's because rather than just put a rubber stamp on, examining the school's name, we really ask the committees to take their time to uncover research, and invariably everyone learns something new through this process about the school community, and our school's namesake. You may or may not know this, but in October of 2018, the school board directed me to develop a policy for reviewing our school names, and particularly the schools that are named after individuals, after people. And then they directed me to conduct a process where all of the schools in the county that are named after people go through a name review, and to ensure that the people for whom our schools are named, that their lives, their accomplishments within the context of Albemarle County and in our world, that they align with the school division's current values that we have in place. And so we've worked our way through several schools now, and so we have lined up to do now Mary Carr Greer. You might ask why are we looking at Mary Carr Greer now? And the reason being is that there's been a lot of work done around master planning for the Lambs Lane campus, which is what we now refer the whole 219-acre site that contains Albemarle High School, Ivy Creek, Jack Jewett, also Mary Carr Greer, our transportation facility, and our building services facility. That whole area there is undergoing a master plan study. And so we felt that since we'd already reviewed Jack Jewett, which is now been renamed beginning July 1st to be Journey Middle School, that we would go ahead and do a review for Mary Carr Greer, so that as they purchase signage and do other things to unify the campus, that the review will have already taken place in that process. I really want to thank Susie for being the chair. It's a lot of work. I know it's a lot of extra effort, and I really appreciate it. And anybody who ever I'm sure everybody here has run at least one committee in their lives, and pulling people together for a committee, even with great people like you all, it's always a challenge. And so I thank you for taking up this challenge. I'm really appreciative of Karen Waterswicks for being the facilitator. She was the facilitator, sort of co-facilitator for Broadest Wood, and did a bang up job with that. So you all are in great hands. She's going to take good care of you. I really ask that all of you immerse yourself in this process, and we all come into it with what we think we know, and how we think things ought to be. And I ask you that when you get into these meetings to keep an open mind. The perspectives of your peers on the committee are going to, I think, be enlightening. Everyone has important ideas, and I hope that when you come to these meetings, you leave each night after the meeting saying, wow, I really learned something new today, or I really learned a new perspective from one of the people that was on the committee with me. And I hope you enjoy that. I hope that becomes fun for you, that when you look forward to these meetings, to have the discussions that you're going to have. And I look forward to your recommendation. And I've said this about all the schools. Your charge is to look at the school as a new school, one that's just being completed, and they're about ready to finish the construction of it. And you are looking at it for a name, and look at it that way instead of saying the school has already had this name for decades, so therefore that's the way it's going to be. Come to it with a completely open mind if you can. And so at this point, I'm going to step back out of the way. I try not to be a presence in these meetings very much, because I don't want my presence to hamper your conversations or your efforts. Does anyone have a question for me though before I take off? All right, going once, going twice. All right, Susie, thank you very much. I appreciate you all. Take care.
Thank you, Dr. Haas. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit into just sort of a status update, where we are, what we've done, the results of the survey. And so by doing that, I'm going to start with sharing my screen so you can see. I've got a little slideshow to show you guys. So I'll start with that. Sorry, Karen, it's telling me that I don't know that I am the co-host. It's not letting me share. Try that one more time. Give it a go. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. Make this okay. Oops, sorry about that. All right, so here we are, Mary Carr, Greer name review. This is our first community meeting. Here's a little bit just of an update as to what we've done already, our outreach, and then some of the name suggestions that came out of the survey number 1. So we've already had our organizational meeting held with our committee. We've drafted our first survey and sent it out and circulated it. And for outreach for that, we've sent it out to every single parent. We were able to send home a flyer for every parent. We had signs all over our school with little QR codes so that people could easily get into that survey. Did a lot of communication through email and other kind of ways like that. We also went into every classroom and met with each of the students and talked to them a little bit about what the survey was, and I'll talk more about that, but we did go into every classroom to talk to each student about it. We had a fun run a couple weekends ago where we already had an event planned and it just happened to be perfect. So we went in there and kind of also shared the survey with our families that joined with that. And then from that survey, we have some top name suggestions, which include Greer, Blue Ridge, Hydraulic, and Gecko. And I just wanted to say that the name Gecko comes out because we are the Greer Geckos. And so many of our students that came up with the name Gecko, I think they're so often hearing Greer Geckos or they're called Geckos. So that's playing in their mind, and many of them like that name. So that came up a lot on our, it came up a good bit on our surveys that we gave to our students. And so that was pretty cute. So I'm going to move on. So here's some of the information that we got from the survey. We had 138 responses to our online survey. So I'm going to kind of read this as you guys follow along. Over 80% had knowledge of Miss Greer's life and achievements. 7 out of 10 of these indicated familiarity with our ACPS values of equity, excellence, family and community, and wellness, and Greer's guiding principles of creating an equity of opportunity for every one of our children through an educational program focused on individual students. We had 229 student responses in person or on paper, and then in total, 305 responses. So this is a quote that came from one of our community members. I'll just take a moment here for you guys to take a chance to read that. I'll also read it just for those of you that may not be able to be following along, but it says, I believe that keeping the school name Greer Elementary was what the school system should do. Her life was a reflection of the goals and values that the school system is trying to meet. She was a strong African-American woman that cared about our community, was an excellent role model for children and adults, and her life and legacy deserve to be carried on to the next generations. I could not think of a better person to name a school after. And again, this was one of our community members. Got some pictures coming up next. So here's how our students participated. You can see we went into the classrooms and they shared their vote. We gave them little voting stickers, which of course they loved. And then we also, at our after school program, director asked how she could support. And so they shared, we would love to have signs to put around our school to encourage our community to vote. And so you can see in some of these pictures, our students are making signs that we've actually put around our building to again, encourage our community to vote. So that was really sweet. It was sweet to see those, and I'll share. You can see one up here that we put around, and then over here is some more pictures of our students who had an opportunity to vote. And this was really great because it was great to let them know that they had a voice and an opinion and that it mattered. And we wanted to share with our students like what the school name review purpose was, and then also to hear what they had to say about it. So we had great conversations about that and great input from our students. Again, some creative ideas for names, but the vast majority of our students really liked the name Greer. In fact, many of them said, I love the name Greer, and so they wanted to keep it. So though there were some fun names, there were also a lot of our students who really liked the name Greer and would like us to keep it. So overall, I would say our students were excited to participate in the survey, and I just think it was a great opportunity for them to have their voice heard and to be a part of this process. So I'm grateful that we were able to go into those classrooms and hear their voice. And again, you can see here some just images of the students making those signs and then where they're hung up around the school, which was cool. All right. And so here's some of our next steps. This week, we're going to bring out the survey number 2, which will just include those 4 names. We'll get a sense of those 4 names, the names that people would like to vote for. We'll have another community meeting on June 6th. And then on June 9th, we'll do our school board recommendation. And if you would like any more information about this school name review process, here is a link that you can go to. And we can help you get connected with that. And then lastly, if you do have any questions or additional comments for the committee, please by all means email us and we'll reach out to you to answer those questions or to hear those comments. Again, we're excited that you're here joining us tonight, and we look forward to hear what you'll have to say, or if you do have any comments or questions, please email us. And I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Karen Water-Wicks, who's going to give a chance for some public comment.
Good evening. I'm Karen Waters-Wicks, and I am the project manager for the school name review. As Dr. Haas mentioned, I'm the liaison with central office. I understand that we have 2 registered speakers. I'm not sure, Teresa Leslie, can you identify yourself?
Yeah, I'm the the great granddaughter of Hugh Carr. So that would make Mary Carr Greer my great aunt.
Wonderful. So I wasn't sure if you were a committee member or you were interested in public comment. So would you be interested in doing a public comment today?
If nobody else is here, I think, yeah, I could.
Okay, wonderful. Let me just share the protocol. So tonight we have Sue Earhart from the Ivy Creek Foundation. We have Dr. Virgil Wood, who is a very close former student of Miss Greer's, and we have Teresa Leslie with us. We're going to follow the normal protocol for school board meetings. Each speaker has 3 minutes to speak. As you are coming up on your 3 minutes, I'll hold up my yellow form. Committee members are just going to listen and they will not be responding. And would one of you like to volunteer to go first? Just go ahead and unmute yourself if you want to go first.
Well, I would say Dr. Wood should go first.
Dr. Wood, can you unmute yourself?
Okay, thank you so much. I want to thank you all for what you're doing in this regard. I graduated from Albemarle Training School exactly 74 years ago, and I suspect that that would have been before any of your parents were with us on planet Earth. But let me take my 3 minutes. I'm going to try to do it in 2.5 minutes. You know, it takes 3 minutes for a Baptist preacher to clear his throat. So I'm going to do the best I can to stay under the 3 minutes. First of all, I want to say that Mrs. Greer created an extraordinary learning environment. And it was a community that was just extraordinary. I've had no higher effective communities. She sent me from a Virginia Union to a Virginia Union for my undergraduate. She called the president there and said, "I'm sending you Virgil." Mrs. Greer was just extraordinary. And 3 things I want to say about her, in addition to the kind of learning environment she commandeered. It was awesome. I was one of the students she took to a national conference, Melinda Greer and myself, a national conference at New Orleans. It was a national youth conference of the NAACP. And that's when Thurgood Marshall was a young lawyer in those days, and he was arguing restrictive covenant cases in Detroit. Second thing I want to mention about Mrs. Greer is, as a student, she gave us as much responsibility as we seemed ready to accept. And I was a school bus driver at 16. I never understood why the parents said, what is that? What did they got that boy driving that bus for? But I never had an accident, although the driver before me had several accidents. So Mrs. Greer said, "Virgil, I want you to drive this bus." So that's what I did. And I've been driving buses ever since that experience under Mrs. Mary Carr Greer. I want to tell you, you're not honoring her, you're honoring yourselves when you name this for her. Please know that. And also, I hope that you give the students an opportunity to take a deep plunge into her life and the significance of her time in her own time. And I want to thank you for what you're doing. God bless you. How long did I take, Miss Wallace?
1 minute and 6 seconds.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! All right then.
Very good.
I hope these words are useful, and anything I can do beyond here, I'd be delighted.
Thank you. You have beat every Baptist preacher's record, I believe, in the universe. Sue, would you like to go next?
Sure, it'd be my pleasure. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sue Earhart, and I'm speaking in support of keeping the Greer Elementary name in honor of Mary Louise Carr Greer. Mary Carr Greer is an important member of this community and left us an incredible legacy. I'm the executive director of the Ivy Creek Foundation. My organization stewards the Ivy Creek Natural Area and Historic Riverview Farm. This farm is a rare surviving example of the Union Ridge and Hydraulic Mills community of African American farmers, pastors, craftspeople, businessmen, and women that flourished in this region beginning in the final quarter of the 19th century. In recognition of the contributions made to the local community by the Carr and Greer families who owned Riverview Farm, it's recognized on both the Virginia Landmark Registry of the Virginia Department of Historic Resources and the National Register of Historic Places. Mary Louise Carr Greer was a prominent local educator. She taught school locally for several years before attending Virginia Normal and Industrial Institute in Petersburg, Virginia, now Virginia State University. Upon returning from college, she joined the faculty of Albemarle Training School, located within sight of her home of Riverview Farm. In 1931, after teaching domestic science at Albemarle Training School for 15 years, Mary Carr Greer became its third and first woman principal and oversaw a period of both physical and academic expansion and growth. During her tenure, she initiated a formal 4-year high school curriculum and pushed for the merging of Albemarle Training School with the Charlottesville Albemarle School System. A year after her retirement in 1950, Albemarle Training School merged with the newly opened Jackson P. Burley Comprehensive High School in Charlottesville. Mary Carr Greer supported her students by encouraging them to be something, which was her motto. She would open her home to students in the winter so they could continue to go to school during inclement weather or when buses were not reliable. She took food from her garden to the school. She taught the children how to make the food and provide a good meal. She traveled to the students' homes and discussed ways for students to go into high school and into college with their parents and families. Mrs. Greer was extremely active in her community, leading a local 4-H club that was segregated. She also participated in local garden clubs and the National Association of Colored Women. She is a role model for the ages, and it is my hope that the school name in her honor will continue to inspire the current and future generations by keeping the name Mary Greer Elementary. Thank you.
Very good, very good.
Thank you very much, Ms. Earnhardt. Ms. Leslie?
Yes, greetings, everyone. I should also say that I'm newly installed on the board of the Ivy Creek Foundation. And, I didn't know my great aunt. I think when she passed away, I was an infant. But I know that the legacy of, first of all, I'm a descendant of Mary Carr Greer's sister, Virginia Carr, and all of the children of Hugh Carr really made an impact, whether it was through education or civic. There's, dealing in civic organizations such as the NAACP, just very impressive. And I think that it inspires me. The more I learn about it, the more I'm inspired by this family, by my family, and realize that some of the things that I do just inherently come from a tradition of just doing this. You don't even want to know how many boards I'm on, in addition to the work that I do and I'm also a very good educator, although I'm not necessarily in education. And I think that the elementary school, the Mary Carr Greer Elementary School, she's the exact type of person you want to name a school after. And when everybody's talking about, some of the names that they're trying to change, well, it's people like Mary Carr Greer that really need to be recognized for the work that they've done and the impact that they have had on the community. And children need to know about what people like Mary Carr Greer did in their lifetimes when things were a lot more difficult. They were able to persevere and to do. The whole family, really. It's quite an impressive story. So I would agree with Dr. Wood and Sue. And I would say, please, I would support keeping the name of Mary Carr Greer Elementary.
Great. Thank you so much for your comments. that concludes our public comment and actually concludes our meeting this evening. I'm going to turn it over to Susie to adjourn us.
Thank you again all for joining us. I loved hearing the different public comments, and I'm excited to continue to help our kids understand even more who Mary Carr Greer is. And I look forward to just seeing this process unfold. So, and again, I look forward to seeing you all on our next public meeting. So thank you again for joining us, and I hope you all have a great evening.
Mhm.